Hi guys, and welcome to the first actual video on methamphetamine, my new funny channel. Also informative. Today we're going to be doing a pretty basic subject, but it's one that comes up in a lot of questions in GCSE maths. So yeah, it's pretty important that you know how to do it and how to do it well. So here we've got factorizing quadratics. So as you can see here, we've got a little equation. We've got x squared plus 5x plus 6 equals 0. The equals 0 is very important, but we'll come back to that later. Bit of foreshadowing. So what we're going to do is we're going to try to get this. We're going to try to find out what x equals, basically. Now you're looking at that and going, okay, you could rearrange the formula, but there's two different forms of x's. There's x squared and just a regular x. So would that work? The answer is no. There's a sneaky little trick we can do to get around that. So what we're going to do is we're going to go down here and we're going to think, right, what you've got to do is say, I've just realised I've written this equation wrong, but it would work actually, sorry. So what we're going to think is, what adds to make 5, so what adds to make the middle, whatever the x is here, whatever's in front of the x, what adds to make that, which in this case is 5, and what times is to make the lonely number on the end, which in this case is 6. So if you really want to do it a long way, you could write out kind of all the factors of 6 and like all the things that add to make 5. And if this was like 49 and 81, you might want to do that because there'd be a lot of options. But in this case, it's pretty simple to just think off the top of your head and go 2 plus 3 equals 5, so that's good. And 3 times 2 equals 6, so that's good. So we know the two numbers we're looking for here are 3 and 2. So what we're going to do is we're going to do two pairs of brackets here and go x plus at the start of both of them. And then so we've got our two numbers, which we've already established is 2 and 3. So we're going to go x plus 3 and x plus 2. Doesn't really matter what order you do it in, I don't think. And obviously we can't remember at the end that equals 0. So now we've got it in what's called like the factorized form. But if we're trying to find out what x equals, that doesn't help us. We've just slightly rearranged the format. But what we can do, as long as it equals to 0, that's the important bit, we can basically know what x will be because we will invert this number here, these two numbers. So instead of plus 3, x would actually equal minus 3. Da da da. Yeah, and you can think about this as, what would x have to be for everything in that bracket to equal 0? Because what you're trying to do basically is trying to get 0 in each bracket, so it'd be 0 times 0, which would obviously make 0. So you're trying to make x almost the opposite of 3. So when you add them together, or take them away as it may be, with some questions, it will always equal 0. So as you can see, we can confirm this works by plugging x equals minus 3 into that, so it'd be minus 3 plus 3, 0. In this one, x would be minus 2. And again, we can check that by going, okay, minus 2 plus 2 equals 0. So it'd be 0 times 0, which equals, shock, 0. Now, we've got two solutions here. And the astute amongst you might be going, what? How? Hang on, we can't have two solutions. X equals one thing. Well, that's where you're wrong. It can equal two things. It could equal 1 in some cases. It could actually not solve to anything, because these are all about graphs. If we sketch a quadratic graph here, quadratic graphs either look like a smiley face or a happy face. So they'll either look like this, or they'll look like this, big frowny face. And basically the x solutions are the points where it crosses the x-axis. So as you can see, it crosses it there, and it crosses it there. So there are actually two solutions. That isn't the equation to this graph, because obviously if it was that, then that point might be right, but The other point might be like closer to here because it's -3 and -2. But yeah, that's how you'd work out that. And what we're essentially doing is you divide this number by the number in front of x. In this case, there is nothing there, so it's just 1. So it's 3/1, and then invert it, so it would be -3/1. And that doesn't seem too important here because there's nothing in front of the x, so you can just say it's 3 inverted. However, I'm going to do an example soon where that will be a lot different, and I have to put a bit more thought into it. Hi, and I'm back, and these are the equations I was talking about where there's a number in front of the x squared, so you can't just say it's x squared, so it's basically the same as having 1x squared. Now it's 2x squared. It gets a bit more tricky, still doable. So what we're going to do is we're going to times the first number here and the last number here. So 2 times -10 gives us a cheeky little -20, and we'll take the middle number here, minus x. Minus x is the same as -1x, so -1. And we're going to rattle our brains a bit and think, what times is to make -20? What two numbers? And what adds to make -1? So again, you could draw out a long list of factors. I think for numbers like these, it's pretty useless because a couple seconds of thinking will give you the numbers 4 and -5. So we're going to write those into the equation by splitting up the -x into 4x minus 5x. So how we're going to do that is we're going to go 2x squared still, plus 4x minus 5x, so it will still equal -1x. It's just we wrote it in a slightly different form. Minus 10 at the end still, and then obviously equal 0. And then we're going to section them off in brackets a bit. So it's 2x squared plus 4x, end bracket, minus, and then the second part, which is obviously 5x, minus 10. We'll leave the equals 0 for now, we just need to remember to write it at the end. So then with that, we're going to take out as much as we can on the outside of the brackets. So we've got 2x squared plus 4x, so the most we could take out is 2x. So that would leave us with x, because 2x squared divided by 2x would just leave us with x, plus 2, because 4x divided by 2x just leaves us with 2. And then minus, and then what can we take out of this one? The most we could take out is 5. So minus 5, then inside we'd have just x, because 5x divided by 5 is just x, and then plus 2, because minus 10 divided by minus 5 gives us -2. And then what we're going to do is you'll start to notice, the astute amongst you, the two things we've got in brackets are the exact same. Wah, that's no coincidence. So we're going to write that in a little bracket. So we've got x plus 2, because that's the same on both sides. And they'll always give you questions, unless it involves quadratic formula, which is a whole different kettle of fish. I'll come on to that in another video. It will always be one that expands nicely, so or factorizes nicely, so the things in the brackets will be the same. So you've got x plus 2, and then the other one will be 2x minus 5. So basically just the things in front of the brackets. And that, at long last, is the factorized version of 2x squared minus x minus 10 equals 0. We're not finished yet because we're trying to find out what x equals. So we're going to do the same thing we did on the last time, it's just a bit more complicated. So the first bracket, fairly easy. It would just be, so it would be 1x, so you just divide 2 by 1, which is still 2, and then inverse it, so x would be -2. The other one's a bit more tricky. What we've got to do is minus 5 divided by 2, which gives us minus 5 over 2, or minus 2.5. Then invert that to give us x equals 2.5. And always remember, as long as it equals 0 at the end, you can find out what just x equals. If there was no 0 on the end of that, we could just leave it at that, because you can't actually find out what x would equal. The equal 0 is the key. So yeah, I'm going to give you some practice questions now and see whether you get them. Hi, and we've got an example question. I'm not going to do the hard work this time, you are, so get to it. Pause the video here if you need to. Do a bit of working out for this, and I'll work it out in a bit, and see if you've got the same answer. Right, pause the video now. Right, we're back. Woo! And yeah, we're gonna solve it for you. I'm not gonna go too in depth into this, so it'll be in brackets whatever adds to make plus 8 and whatever times is to make minus 105, which I believe would be 15 and minus 7. So we'd have x plus 15 and then x minus 7 equals 0. And then what we do is, because it's just x, so it'd be 1x. So 15 divided by 1, which is just 15, inverse that, so x equals minus 15. And again, 1x, so minus 7 divided by 1, which is just minus 7 still. And invert that, so it would be x equals 7. Well, we were. Hopefully you got the right answer. If not, your parents probably don't love you. Right, I'm back with the final example question. The pressure's on, guys. Again, you do it, you pause it now, see if you can work it out, and I'll work it out a couple seconds later. So, pause the video now. Okay, we're back. Right, so what we've got here, so we'll do 6 times 6, which equals 36. What times is to make 36, and adds to make 13. I've already given this a bit of thought. So it's plus 9 and plus 4. So we right here, remember when it's like a number in front of the x squared, we need to split up the thing in the middle. So it would be 9x plus 4x plus 6 equals 0. Now we're going to split up the brackets, so we get 6x squared plus 9x plus 4x plus 6 in brackets. And equals 0 just for the sake of it. And so we'll take out everything we can, so this one will be 2x. No, 3x, sorry. Jeez. Error after error over here. So 2x plus 3. And then plus. So we could just take 2 out of this. So it'd be 2x plus 3. And shock. We've got the same things in both the brackets. So that can go in one of the brackets at 2x plus 3. And the other one would be everything outside of it, so 3x plus 2. And then, so it would be 3 divided by 2, which would be 1.5. Inverse that, so x equals minus 1.5. And 2 divided by 3, so 2/3 or 0.6 reoccurring. and inverse that, so it'd be minus. Oh, you can feel the anxiety in the crowd rising. Minus 0.60 count, or minus 2/3. It doesn't matter for this question whether you write it in decimal or fractional form. But yeah, if you got those right, you've basically mastered it. Bosh. Student becomes the teacher. Wow, what a great first video from the Methamphetamine channel and Big Dog James over here. I apologise for the not very good camera quality. I couldn't set it on my phone because the file was too big. So we're going to have to do it direct from the laptop camera. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed the video. It went on for longer than I expected. Most of you probably aren't watching this bit, but if you are, you're the real ones. Please consider liking and subscribing, which you probably already have, because I'm very, very popular. Yeah, next time I'm going to be doing expanding quadratics, hopefully, if the channel's lived that long. And see you in a bit, guys. Bye-bye.